House hunting in Accra is a challenging task. Some even describe it as an extreme sport. Ghana has a housing deficit of 1.8 million housing units. Many have no choice but to choose substandard accommodation or are compelled to pay very exorbitant rent for quality accommodation. Landlords also demand more than 1 year of rent upfront, although the rent law is against such practices. Locating a property also does not come cheap. Rent agents also demand 10% of the rent. That is if you come across a genuine agent. Desperate to find decent accommodation in Accra, Ida Safoa paid close to 30,000 Ghana cedis for accommodation, only to discover that the online agent she contacted had no legal authority to rent the property.
We were in the car and then I gave him a physical cash of 20,000. And then he was like, so when is he going to get the rest? And I was like, okay, I need a fence around the house. So if he's able to fix it for me, then I close to 30,000.
Safwa was left crushed and her dream of securing a suitable accommodation also shattered. Her experience is not unique, as many have become victims of rent scams. These agents often offer their services through online platforms, social media, word-of-mouth referrals, making it difficult for authorities to track them. Ebenezer Dankwa was given keys to a non-existent apartment after paying 9,000 Ghana cedis for accommodation.
9,000. Okay. Yes, it's not easy for me, Crow. I borrow some money. I used to pay this money for the landlord.
The stories of rent fraud in Accra are endless. Richard says the agent demanded 500 cedis as a viewing fee. After grumbling and paying the amount, the agent informed him that someone else had paid for the house.
I've been smooth with them when it comes to housing agents in Accra. Sometimes they I call an agent or I see the advert somewhere and I call them, they come. We go check the place and it's not a place that you would like to stay in. Taking 2 years advance, which was around 36,000 Ghana cedis, plus that 500 for the agents, that is to see the house, makes it 41,000.
In response to the growing concerns, the Rent Control Department is advising the public to only deal with licensed housing agents under the Real Estate Agency Council and avoid scammers on social media platforms. But how can the public identify licensed agents?
Online applications are no. Accommodation is a physical structure. It's not a digital structure. So you need to see the place. Make sure you do your duty. Don't blame these Goro boys, as I call them. I blame ourselves as well. But the underlying factor is there's a law that is supposed to regulate them. There's the Act 1047. That is the Real Estate Agency Act, which is supposed to regulate these people, give them license, give them certificate to operate. But we also need to be vigilant in doing our business.
He also explained that tenants are not supposed to pay rent agents commissions.
When somebody has led you to an accommodation, being an agent, and you pay your money to the landlord is supposed to give you 5%. Supposed to give the agent 5% of the rent advance, because it's the landlord or the landlady who has contracted the agent to go and look for somebody to come and occupy the place. It's not a duty of the prospective tenant to be paying the agent. Okay, it's the duty of the landlord who has contracted the agent to go and look for somebody to come and occupy the place, whose duty it is to pay that 5%, which is provision in the Rent Act.
The Rent Control is urging victims of rent fraud to report to the police. But as many rent fraud cases remain unresolved, property seekers should exercise greater caution. Joyce Oforia Mwakon's report, read to you.